The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing quarterly reports at my desk. My phone buzzed with my sister's name flashing across the screen, and I answered with the usual greeting, already bracing myself for whatever crisis she'd invented this time. "Clara, I need you to watch the kids on Christmas Eve," Victoria said without preamble. No hello, no how are you, just straight into her demand like I existed solely to serve her needs. I set down my pen and leaned back in my chair, watching the winter sun stream through my office window in downtown Phoenix. "Christmas Eve? That's in 3 days, Victoria. I have plans. Cancel them." Her tone carried that familiar edge of entitlement that had defined our relationship for the past decade. "The kids need supervision while Julian and I go to his company dinner. It's mandatory." I counted to 5 in my head, a technique my therapist had taught me to manage my frustration with family dynamics. "Why can't you hire a babysitter?" "Because they're expensive during the holidays and your family." She said it like that settled everything, like being related meant I had no right to my own time or boundaries. "Besides, the kids love their aunt. You'll have fun." Fun. Watching 5 children ranging from 2 to 11 years old on Christmas Eve, while my sister enjoyed expensive wine and appetizers at some fancy restaurant. I thought about my actual plans. A quiet evening with my boyfriend Trevor, exchanging gifts by his fireplace, maybe watching a holiday movie before midnight mass. Simple, peaceful, mine. "I really can't," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Trevor and I have reservations, and I promised him a quiet evening. We've both been working crazy hours and we need this." Victoria's voice sharpened. "Then uninvite him. This is family, Clara. Family comes first, or have you forgotten that?" The hypocrisy of that statement nearly made me laugh. Family came first when they needed something from me. But where was that loyalty when I'd needed help moving last spring? When I'd been hospitalized with pneumonia 2 years ago and spent 3 days alone because everyone was too busy to visit? "I haven't forgotten anything," I replied carefully. "But 3 days' notice for an all-evening commitment is unreasonable." "Unreasonable?" She practically shrieked the word. "You know what's unreasonable? Your selfishness. Mom and Dad are already disappointed in you for skipping Thanksgiving. And now you're going to ruin Christmas too." I had skipped Thanksgiving, and I would skip it again in a heartbeat. 30 people crammed into my parents' house, everyone expecting me to help cook, serve, and clean, while Victoria held court in the living room, complaining about how exhausted motherhood made her. "No, thank you." "Victoria, I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm just saying I have prior commitments." "Break them." Her voice turned cold and calculated. "Watch the kids on Christmas Eve or you're banned from Christmas dinner. Mom and Dad agree with me." My stomach dropped. There it was, the nuclear option she always deployed when she did not get her way. Threaten exclusion, weaponize our parents, make me the villain for having boundaries. I had watched this pattern repeat itself countless times over the years, and I was suddenly, desperately tired of it. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You're threatening to ban me from Christmas dinner because I won't cancel my plans with 24 hours notice to babysit your children?" 72 hours, she corrected smugly. "And yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Choose, Clara, family or your boyfriend." I could feel the anger building in my chest, hot and sharp, but I forced myself to smile even though she could not see me. Something about the smile helped, made my voice come out sweet and unbothered. "No problem," I said cheerfully. "I'll watch the kids." The sudden shift clearly surprised her. "You will?" "Of course. Family comes first, right? What time should I be there?" 6 p.m. "And Clara?" Her tone softened slightly, probably relief that she had won so easily. "Thanks. I know you'll make it special for them." I hung up and sat very still in my office chair, that cold, calculated smile still fixed on my face. Through my window, I could see people hurrying along the sidewalk below, carrying shopping bags and coffee cups, living their normal lives while mine had just tilted on its axis. No problem, I had said, and I had meant it, because solving this problem would not involve showing up to babysit. It would involve something much more satisfying, something that had been building in the back of my mind for months as I planned the family surprise I had been so excited to reveal on Christmas morning. I opened my laptop and navigated to my email, scrolling until I found the confirmation from Snow Ridge Resort in Colorado. $18,000 for a week-long ski vacation, covering accommodations for 12 family members in a luxury lodge, lift tickets, equipment rentals, and meal packages. I had booked it in September, paid in full, kept it secret because I wanted to see their faces on Christmas when I announced it. My finger hovered over the cancellation link. They had no idea I had funded this trip. I had told no one, wanting it to be a complete surprise. The booking was in my name, paid from my account, completely and totally mine to control. I thought about Victoria's voice on the phone. Choose, Clara. Family or your boyfriend. She had drawn a line in the sand, never imagining I might actually have the spine to step across it. I clicked the link and began reading the cancellation policy, that cold smile spreading wider across my face. The cancellation policy stared back at me from the screen, and I closed the laptop without clicking further. Not yet. First, I needed to think about how I had gotten here, to this moment where canceling an $18,000 gift felt less painful than continuing to let my family treat me like their personal ATM and errand service. It started small, the way these things always do. 10 years ago, when Victoria got pregnant with her first child, I had bought the crib. Not contributed to it, bought it outright, because she and Julian were tight on money, despite both having decent jobs. Then came the stroller, the car seat, the endless stream of emergencies that somehow always required my credit card. I made good money as a senior financial analyst at a manufacturing firm. My salary was comfortable, my bonuses generous, and I had no children or spouse to support. In my family's eyes, that made me the designated bank, always open, never allowed to close. Victoria, meanwhile, worked part-time as a receptionist at a dental office, a job she complained about constantly but never tried to improve. Julian worked in sales, with income that fluctuated wildly but somehow never seemed to cover their bills. They had 5 children now, lived in a house that was perpetually one missed payment away from foreclosure, and drove cars that broke down with alarming regularity. And every single time I was expected to help. Last April, their air conditioning died in the middle of a Phoenix heat wave. $3,000 for a new unit. I paid it because I could not stand the thought of my nieces and nephews suffering in 100-degree heat. Victoria thanked me with a Facebook post about how blessed she was, never mentioning who had actually written the check. In June, their oldest daughter needed braces. $4,000. I paid half because Victoria cried on the phone about how embarrassed the poor girl was about her crooked teeth. Julian promised to pay me back within 3 months. I was still waiting. September brought a crisis with their van. The transmission died and they needed it fixed immediately because how else would the kids get to school? $2,200. Victoria promised she would cover my next birthday present. My birthday came and went in October without even a card. The math was simple and brutal. In the past year alone, I had given or loaned my sister nearly $15,000. In the 10 years since her first child was born, the number climbed well into 6 figures. Money I would never see again. Money I gave because I was family and family helped each other. Except help only flowed one direction. When I bought my condo 3 years ago, I asked if anyone could help me move. Victoria said the kids had activities. Mom said her back hurt. Dad said he had a golf game. I hired movers and spent an entire weekend unpacking alone, ordering pizza for one, wondering why I bothered maintaining relationships with people who could not spare 4 hours to help me. When I got pneumonia and spent 3 days in the hospital, I called Victoria from my bed, frightened and alone, asking if she could visit. She said she was too busy with the kids. Mom said she did not do well in hospitals. Dad said he would try to stop by but never did. My boyfriend at the time, a man I had been dating for only 2 months, was the one who showed up with flowers and sat beside my bed reading to me. When I got a major promotion last year, the kind that came with a 20% raise and a corner office, I called my parents excited to share the news. Dad congratulated me, then immediately asked if I could loan Victoria money for Christmas presents. The promotion was never mentioned again. I gave and gave and gave, and they took and took and took, and somewhere along the way, I had become less than a person to them. I was a resource, a solution to their problems, a checkbook with a heartbeat. The ski trip was supposed to be different. I had saved for months, researched resorts, picked the perfect dates between Christmas and New Year when everyone would be off work and school. I imagined gathering them all on Christmas morning, handing out envelopes with the itinerary inside, seeing genuine joy and appreciation on their faces. I imagined Victoria hugging me, thanking me for my generosity. I imagined my parents being proud of how successful I had become, how I could afford to treat the entire family to something special. I imagined, for once, being valued for more than my bank account. But that was the fantasy. The reality was Victoria calling me 72 hours before Christmas, not to thank me for a lifetime of financial support, but to demand I sacrifice my holiday to watch her children. Not asking, demanding, not requesting, threatening. Watch the kids, or you are banned from dinner. I thought about that threat and felt something shift inside me, some fundamental understanding of my worth and my place in this family dynamic. They did not value me. They valued my compliance. They did not love me. They loved what I could do for them. And if I was going to be banned from Christmas dinner for having the audacity to have my own plans, for daring to prioritize my own life for once, then what exactly was I paying $18,000 for? The question hung in the air of my quiet office, and I realized I already knew the answer. I was paying for the illusion that we were a real family, that their affection could be purchased, that if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, bent enough, eventually they would see me as more than an ATM. But illusions were expensive, and I was done paying for them. I did not cancel the reservation that afternoon. Instead, I went home to my condo, poured a glass of wine, and sat on my balcony watching the sunset, paint the Phoenix sky in shades of orange and gold. Trevor called around 7, his voice warm with concern. "How was your day?" he asked, and I could hear him moving around his kitchen, probably starting dinner. "Interesting," I said, taking a sip of wine. Victoria called. He groaned. Trevor had been dating me for 8 months, long enough to understand my family dynamics, and wise enough to keep his opinions mostly to himself. What did she want this time? Babysitting on Christmas Eve. 5 kids, all evening. No negotiation. "And you said no, right?" His tone was hopeful, but doubtful. He knew me too well. I said yes, actually. Silence stretched between us for a long moment. "Clara, we have plans." "I know." I watched a bird settle on the balcony railing, its small head tilting as it studied me. "But she threatened to ban me from Christmas dinner if I refused. Mom and Dad backed her up." "That's emotional blackmail." His voice hardened with anger on my behalf, something that made my chest warm with affection for him. "You know that, right? That's manipulative and wrong, and you do not have to tolerate it." "I know," I said again, softer this time. "Which is why I am not actually going to babysit." Another pause, this one tinged with confusion. "I do not understand." So I told him about the ski trip, about the $18,000 I had spent, about the surprise I had been planning for months. I told him about the years of financial support, the emergencies that were never really emergencies, the one-sided nature of every relationship I had with my blood relatives. "I am going to cancel it," I said finally. "The whole trip. And I am not going to tell them I was the one who booked it in the first place." "Wait." Trevor's voice filled with something between admiration and concern. "They do not know you planned this?" Nobody knows. I wanted it to be a surprise. Clara, that's... He trailed off, then laughed, sharp and surprised. That's brilliant, actually. They are going to lose their minds. Probably. I felt calm, calmer than I had in months. But I realized something today. I have been trying to buy their love for 10 years, and it has not worked. They do not appreciate me. They just expect more. So, you are taking back your gift. I am taking back my self-respect, I corrected. The gift is just symbolic. We talked for another hour, and by the time I hung up, I felt certain about my decision. Trevor offered to come over, but I told him I needed the evening alone to think. He understood, another reason I was falling in love with him. He gave me space when I needed it, and support when I asked, treating me like an autonomous human being instead of a resource to be managed. That night, I pulled up the resort website again and read through the booking details. 12 people, 7 days, luxury accommodations with mountain views, skiing lessons for the kids, spa treatments for the adults, gourmet meals in the lodge restaurant. I had imagined every detail, planned every aspect, spent hours making sure everyone's preferences were considered. Victoria's kids would have loved the sledding hill. My parents would have enjoyed the nightly fireplace gatherings. Julian could have tried the advanced slopes he always talked about conquering. It would have been perfect. The kind of family memory that lasted a lifetime. But they did not deserve it. The thought felt cruel and liberating at the same time. They did not deserve my generosity because they had never valued it. Every gift I gave was met with expectation for the next one. Every boundary I set was trampled. Every time I said no, I was punished. I thought about Victoria's voice on the phone. Watch the kids, or you are banned from dinner. As if my presence at their table was a privilege I had to earn through servitude. As if my worth was measured solely by my usefulness. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Victoria told me you agreed to babysit. Thank you for being reasonable, sweetheart. Family helps family. I stared at that message for a long time. Thank you for being reasonable. Not thank you for rearranging your plans, or thank you for your sacrifice, or I am sorry we put you in this position. Thank you for being reasonable, as if having boundaries was unreasonable, as if wanting my own life made me difficult. Another text came through, this one from Victoria. The kids are so excited you are coming. Can you pick up pizza for dinner? I will pay you back. She would not pay me back. She never did. And the fact that she was already adding requirements to my volunteered time made my jaw clench with anger. I typed and deleted 3 different responses before settling on a simple thumbs-up emoji. Let her think everything was fine. Let her make her plans for Christmas Eve, secure in the knowledge that her sister would handle everything as always. The next morning, I woke up early and called the resort. The customer service representative was cheerful and helpful, expressing regret that I needed to cancel such a lovely booking. Family emergency? I explained, which was not entirely untrue. My family's entitlement had finally reached emergency levels. The cancellation processed smoothly. Full refund minus a $500 processing fee, which stung but felt worth it. $18,000 back in my account, and with it, a sense of power I had not felt in years. I did not tell anyone. Not Trevor, not my coworker Bethany who knew about the trip, not my college friend Julia who had helped me research resorts. I kept the cancellation to myself like a secret weapon, waiting for the exact right moment to detonate. That moment came on Thursday, 2 days before Christmas Eve, when Mom called to remind me about my babysitting duties. Mom's voice on the phone carried that particular tone she used when she was about to lecture me, sweet on the surface but with steel underneath. Clara, honey, I just wanted to confirm you will be at Victoria's by 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I was at my desk at work, halfway through my last day before the holiday break. Around me, coworkers were decorating their cubicles and talking about their plans. Someone had brought in cookies. The office felt festive and light, which made Mom's call feel even more intrusive. "That's what I told Victoria," I said, keeping my voice neutral. Good. Mom paused, and I could practically hear her gathering her thoughts for whatever came next. "I know you had plans with Trevor, but family really does come first, sweetheart. Victoria needs this night out with Julian. Marriage is hard work, especially with 5 children. You will understand someday when you settle down." The casual dismissal of my relationship stung. Trevor and I had been together for 8 months, serious enough that we had exchanged keys to our places and talked about moving in together next year. But to my mother, my relationship was less important than my sister's need for a free babysitter. "I understand," I said, because arguing would accomplish nothing. "And Clara?" Mom's voice softened into what she probably thought was gentle persuasion. "I know you have been generous with Victoria over the years, and we all appreciate it. But part of being family means showing up when we need you, not just when it is convenient. Do you understand what I am saying?" My hand tightened on the phone. "I think I do, Mom." "I knew you would." Relief flooded her voice. "You have always been such a sensible girl. Now I am making prime rib for Christmas dinner, and I picked up that cheesecake you love from the bakery. It will be a wonderful day, all of us together. All of us together, contingent on my obedience." The condition hung unspoken between us. After we hung up, I sat very still in my chair, trying to process the conversation. My mother had just thanked me for years of financial support in one breath, then reminded me that showing up physically was more important in the next. She had praised my generosity while simultaneously demanding more of it. She had called me sensible for capitulating to Victoria's demands. And somewhere in that conversation, something inside me finally, irrevocably broke. I had spent 10 years trying to be enough for these people. Enough money, enough time, enough sacrifice, enough compliance. I had bent myself into shapes that did not fit, swallowed words that needed to be said, written checks I could not afford to cash emotionally, even if I could financially. And it was never enough. It would never be enough. Because the problem was not that I was not giving enough. The problem was that they had learned they could take everything, and I would never stop them. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. "Mom said you are all set for Saturday. So excited. Also, can you bring art supplies? The kids have been begging to do crafts, and I have not had time to pick anything up." Art supplies, on top of pizza. On top of an entire evening of childcare I had not volunteered for in the first place. I texted back, "Sure." Then I opened my laptop and navigated to the family group chat that Victoria had created months ago. It was called Family Squad, with a ridiculous number of emojis, and it included Mom, Dad, Victoria, Julian, me, and my cousin Hannah, who lived in Seattle. The chat had been quiet lately, mostly Victoria posting pictures of her kids and Mom sharing recipe links. But I scrolled back to November, to a conversation I remembered seeing, but had not paid much attention to at the time. Victoria had written, "Cannot wait for the holidays this year. I have a feeling something amazing is going to happen." Mom had responded, "Any hints about this amazing thing?" Victoria, "Not yet, but trust me, it is going to be the best Christmas ever. All I can say is someone is planning something incredible for the family." My stomach dropped as I kept reading. Hannah, "Wait, who is planning something? Do I need to up my gift game?" Victoria, "Let us just say a little bird told me we might be getting a very generous surprise this year. Something involving travel." Mom, Victoria, "If you know something, you need to share with the group." Victoria, "I promise not to say anything, but let me just say this. Start looking at your calendars for the week after Christmas." I stared at the messages, ice forming in my veins. A little bird told me, someone is planning something incredible. Something involving travel. Victoria knew. Somehow, some way, my sister had found out about the ski trip. And instead of thanking me privately, instead of showing any gratitude or appreciation, she'd been teasing the family with hints, building anticipation, taking credit for knowing about something I had worked so hard to keep secret. I scrolled further and found more messages from December. Victoria, 2 weeks ago. Okay, I really cannot keep this secret much longer. Trust me when I say this Christmas is going to be epic. Dad, you are killing us with the suspense. Victoria, just a few more weeks, but I guarantee this will be the best family trip we have ever taken. The best family trip we have ever taken. She was talking about my gift like it was hers to announce. Like she had any part in planning or funding it. I clicked over to Facebook and searched Victoria's profile. 3 weeks ago, she had posted a status, counting down to an amazing family adventure. So blessed to have people in my life who make incredible things happen. The post had dozens of likes and comments asking what the adventure was. Victoria had responded to several with winking emojis and "you will see soon" messages. She was building social media hype around a gift I had not even revealed yet. She was taking ownership of my surprise, my planning, my $18,000. My hands were shaking as I closed the laptop. I thought about calling her, demanding to know how she found out. But what would be the point? She would deny it, or downplay it, or find some way to make me the villain for being upset. Instead, I pulled out my phone and opened my text thread with Trevor. "She knows about the trip," I typed, "and she has been bragging about it online like it is her surprise to announce." His response came quickly. "Are you kidding me?" I wish I was. She has been building it up in the family chat and on Facebook for weeks. "Clara, you need to confront her." "Why?" I sent back. "She will just gaslight me. They always do." 3 dots appeared as he typed, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. "Then cancel it and do not tell her. Let her look like a liar when nothing happens." I sat with Trevor's message for a long time, watching my coworkers pack up their desks and wish each other happy holidays. Someone had started playing Christmas music from a portable speaker, and the sound of jingle bells felt surreal against the rage building in my chest. Let her look like a liar when nothing happens. The thought was delicious and terrible. Victoria had spent weeks hyping up a surprise that was not hers to share, taking credit for generosity she had not shown, building expectations she could not fulfill. If the trip simply did not materialize, she would be the one left looking foolish. But was that enough? Was public embarrassment sufficient punishment for a lifetime of using me? I thought about every loan that was never repaid, every emergency that was not really an emergency, every guilt trip and manipulation. I thought about 3 days in a hospital bed alone. I thought about moving into my condo without help. I thought about birthday cards that never came, and thank yous that were never said. I thought about Victoria's voice on the phone. "Watch the kids, or you are banned from dinner." No. Public embarrassment was not enough. I wanted them to understand what they had lost. I wanted them to feel the weight of their entitlement and disrespect. I wanted them to know, with absolute certainty, that I was done being their doormat. The resort had already been canceled, the money refunded to my account. But the family did not know that yet. As far as they were concerned, the mystery trip Victoria kept hinting about was still happening. I opened a new document on my laptop and started typing a timeline. Christmas was in 3 days. The trip was supposed to start on December 26th and run through January 1st. If I stayed quiet about the cancellation, they would not find out until they tried to check in. But that felt passive. I did not want to wait for them to discover the truth. I wanted to control the moment, to see their faces when they realized what they had lost. An idea began forming in my mind, cruel and perfect. I pulled up the family group chat again and started reading through Victoria's hints and announcements. She had never actually said what the surprise was, just that it involved travel and would be incredible. She had built the anticipation without having any details to share. What if I let that anticipation build higher? What if I gave them just enough information to get their hopes up, then revealed the truth in the most devastating way possible? My phone rang, interrupting my plotting. Dad's name flashed on the screen. "Hi, Dad," I answered, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. "Clara, your mother told me about the babysitting situation." He sounded uncomfortable, the way he always did when forced to mediate family drama. "I want you to know we appreciate you being flexible." Flexible. An interesting word for being threatened and manipulated. "Of course," I said sweetly. "Family comes first." "That's my girl." Relief flooded his voice. "I know Victoria can be demanding sometimes, but she has her hands full with those kids. She needs support from her family." "And what do I need, Dad?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. Silence stretched between us for several long seconds. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what about my needs? What about my plans? What about my life outside of being Victoria's backup plan?" "Clara, that is not fair." His voice took on a defensive edge. "We have always supported you." "Have you?" I kept my tone light, curious rather than confrontational. "When did you last support me, Dad? Specifically?" "We came to your promotion dinner last year." "That was 18 months ago, and you left early because Victoria needed you to watch the kids." The memory was bitter and clear. "You missed the speech my boss gave about my achievements because you had to leave." "That was one time, Clara. You are being dramatic." One time. As if I had not been keeping score for years, adding up every missed moment, every broken promise, every time they chose Victoria's convenience over my feelings. "You are right," I said, making my voice apologetic. "I am sorry, Dad. I am just stressed with work." "We all have stress, honey." "That is part of being an adult." He paused, then added, "Your mother mentioned Victoria has been hinting about some kind of family trip. Do you know anything about that?" My heart rate kicked up. "Why would I know anything?" "Well, you are the one with the disposable income." He laughed, like it was a joke, but I could hear the fishing expedition underneath. "If anyone could afford to surprise us with a vacation, it would be you." So that was how Victoria knew. She had not found proof. She had made an educated guess based on who in the family had money. And my parents had helped her speculate, probably spent hours discussing who could afford such a generous gift, landing on me because of course they did. I was the bank. I was always the bank. "I do not know what Victoria is talking about," I lied smoothly. "But I hope whatever she is planning works out." Dad sounded disappointed. "Well, if you were planning something like that, I hope you would include your old man." "If I were planning something like that," I said carefully, "I would make sure everyone who deserved it was included." We hung up shortly after, and I sat in my quiet office feeling oddly calm. They had all but admitted they expected me to fund their vacation. They had discussed it amongst themselves, speculated about it, gotten their hopes up about it. And Victoria had taken credit for knowing about it without ever thanking me for planning it. The cruelty of it was breathtaking. Even when I tried to do something nice, something generous and surprising, they found a way to take it for granted before it even happened. I pulled out my phone and texted Bethany, my coworker, who knew about the trip because I had asked her advice on ski resorts. "Change of plans," I typed. "I canceled the family trip." Her response came quickly. "What? Why?" "Long story, but I need a favor. Can you keep a secret until after Christmas?" "Always. What is going on?" "My family thinks I am still taking them on vacation. I want them to keep thinking that for a few more days." "Clara, that is deliciously evil. I love it. What is your plan?" I smiled at my phone screen, that cold, calculated expression that was becoming familiar. "I am still working out the details. But it is going to involve a family dinner and a very public announcement. I'm here for this level of petty. Keep me updated." I promised I would, then gathered my things and headed home. The office was nearly empty now, just a few stragglers finishing last-minute tasks. I wished them happy holidays as I passed, feeling lighter than I had in days. At home, I poured a glass of wine and settled onto my couch with my laptop. I had some planning to do. Christmas Eve morning dawned cold and clear in Phoenix, and I woke to a string of texts from Victoria outlining my babysitting duties in excruciating detail. What time to arrive, what to feed the kids, when bedtime was, which child had which dietary restriction or behavioral quirk. The messages read like a military operation briefing, and nowhere in them was a single word of gratitude. The last text said, "Do not let them stay up past 9. Julian and I have reservations at 8 and will probably be out until midnight. Thanks." Thanks, with an exclamation point, like that made it sincere. I texted back, "Actually, I need to talk to you about tonight. Can I call you?" 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. My phone rang. "What do you mean you need to talk?" Victoria's voice was sharp with suspicion. "Clara, you promised." "I know what I promised," I said calmly. "But something came up with work, and I need to go into the office this afternoon." "No." The word was flat and absolute. "No, you cannot do this to me. I have plans, Clara, important plans. You cannot back out now." "I am not backing out," I lied. "I am just saying I might be late. Maybe 7 or 7:30 instead of 6. The relief in her voice was palpable. "Oh, well, that is fine, I guess. We can push our reservation back. Actually, I was thinking maybe we could find another solution altogether." I kept my voice gentle, reasonable. "Maybe you could hire a babysitter just this once. I could even pay for it, my treat." "Why would I hire a babysitter when you already agreed to do it?" Suspicion crept back into her tone. "What is really going on, Clara?" "Nothing is going on. I just realized I have been enabling you a bit." I paused, letting that sink in. "You are an adult with 5 children. You should have backup plans that do not involve threatening family members." Silence stretched between us, dangerous and electric. "Enabling me?" Her voice went cold. "Is that what Trevor said? Has he been putting ideas in your head about your own family?" "Trevor has nothing to do with this." "Right. Because you suddenly developed a spine on your own." She laughed, sharp and cruel. "You know what, Clara? Fine. Do not come tonight. Do not come to Christmas dinner tomorrow either. If you cannot be bothered to help family when we need you, then you are not welcome at our celebration." "Our celebration?" I felt my own voice going cold. "You mean the celebration at Mom and Dad's house?" "Pretty sure that is their decision, not yours. Mom and Dad agree with me. We already talked about it. You are not welcome." Something hot and sharp twisted in my chest. "You talked to them about banning me before you even called me today?" "We discussed what would happen if you bailed." Victoria's voice carried a smug satisfaction. "And we all agreed. Family is about sacrifice, Clara. If you cannot sacrifice one evening to help me, then you do not deserve to be part of this family." I closed my eyes and counted to 10. "Okay." "Okay?" She sounded surprised. "That is it? You are just going to accept being banned from Christmas?" "What choice do I have? You have made your position clear." I paused, then added softly, "I hope you enjoy your family vacation next week." Dead silence. "What did you say?" Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. "The family vacation. The one you have been hinting about for weeks. The amazing surprise trip." I let each word land like a stone. "I hope you all have a wonderful time." "Clara." Her voice changed completely, filling with desperate hope. Clara, do you know something about that? I know you have been building it up on social media. I know you have told everyone something incredible is happening. I know you have taken credit for knowing about a generous surprise. I paused. I know a lot of things, Victoria. Did you plan something? She was almost breathless now. Is there really a trip? There was, I said softly. There was a beautiful trip planned. A whole week at a luxury ski resort in Colorado. Accommodations for 12 people. Everything paid for. Oh my God. I could hear her calling for Julian in the background. Clara, I knew it. I knew you were planning something amazing. This is going to be incredible. Would have been, I corrected. It would have been incredible. The pause was heavy with confusion. What do you mean, would have been? I mean, I canceled it. I kept my voice pleasant, conversational. Yesterday, actually. Got most of my money back, too, minus a small cancellation fee. Another long silence, then. You are joking. I am not joking. I canceled the $18,000 ski vacation I had booked for the family because I realized something important. I took a breath, feeling powerful and calm. I realized you do not appreciate me, any of you. You see me as a resource, not a person, and I am done being used. Clara, wait. Panic flooded her voice. You cannot just cancel a family trip. Everyone is expecting it. I told people. You told people about a trip you had no part in planning or funding. You took credit for my generosity before I even had a chance to announce it. You made it about you when it was supposed to be about all of us. How did you even... She stopped, understanding dawning. You saw the group chat. I saw everything. The Facebook posts, the hints, the credit you took for something you did not do. My voice hardened. And then you threatened to ban me from Christmas for not babysitting your kids. So I made a choice. If I am not welcome at your celebration, you are not welcome to my gift. This is insane. Victoria was shouting now. You cannot punish everyone because you are mad at me. I am not punishing anyone. I am simply declining to fund a vacation for people who do not value me. I paused. Enjoy your evening out tonight, Victoria. I hope it is worth $18,000. I hung up before she could respond and immediately turned off my phone. My hands were shaking, but I felt oddly exhilarated. I had done it. I had actually done it. For the next hour, I sat in my quiet condo and waited. I knew what was coming. The phone calls, the texts, the emails. The family group chat would explode. My parents would get involved. There would be anger and accusations and desperate attempts at damage control. But I would not see any of it until I was ready. I turned on my laptop and opened the family group chat, setting it to deliver notifications silently. Then I poured myself coffee, settled into my couch, and watched the chaos unfold. Part 3. The Revenge Unfolds. 2,700 words. The family group chat erupted exactly as I had predicted. I watched the messages roll in, one after another, not responding to any of them. Victoria. Clara canceled the ski trip. She is having a tantrum because I asked her to babysit. Mom, what ski trip? Clara, what is Victoria talking about? Victoria. The family vacation she planned, a whole week in Colorado, she canceled it to punish me. Dad, Clara, call me immediately. Hannah. Wait, there was a real trip? I thought Victoria was just being dramatic. Julian. This is unacceptable. Clara, you cannot cancel a family vacation because you are throwing a fit. Victoria. She is being absolutely ridiculous. Over babysitting. Can you believe this? Mom. Clara, please pick up your phone. We need to talk about this. The messages continued, each one more desperate than the last. I watched them pile up with a sense of detached satisfaction, like watching a storm from behind a window. Around noon, my phone started ringing. Mom first, then Dad, then Victoria 3 times in a row. I ignored them all. Trevor texted to ask if I was okay, and I assured him I was fine, just watching the fallout. At 1 p.m., Victoria sent a message directly to me, separate from the group chat. "Clara, I am sorry. I should not have threatened to ban you from Christmas. Please uncancel the trip. The kids will be devastated." I almost laughed. The kids did not even know about the trip. This apology was not about them. It was about Victoria saving face after weeks of building up a surprise she could not deliver. At 2 p.m., Mom tried a different approach. "Sweetheart, I do not know what Victoria said to you, but I am sure we can work this out. Please call me so we can discuss this like adults." Like adults. As if I was the one being childish for having boundaries. At 3 p.m., Dad left a voicemail that I listened to on speaker. "Clara, this is getting out of hand. I understand you are upset, but you cannot hold the entire family hostage over a disagreement with your sister. That trip was not just about you. It affected all of us. You need to think about more than just your own hurt feelings." My own hurt feelings. 10 years of being used, and my feelings were the problem. I made myself a late lunch and watched a movie, periodically checking the group chat to watch the chaos intensify. Victoria had moved from apologetic to angry, now claiming I had promised the family a vacation, and was cruelly backing out. Mom was trying to mediate while clearly taking Victoria's side. Dad had gone silent, which usually meant he was furious and trying to calm down before saying something he would regret. Hannah sent me a private message. "I am staying out of this, but just so you know, Victoria has been insufferable about this mystery trip for weeks. If you really did plan something and she ruined it, I do not blame you for canceling. Family dynamics are hard." It was the closest thing to support I had received from any of them, and I appreciated it even though Hannah was still carefully straddling the fence. At 5 p.m., Victoria sent another message. "Fine, you win. I will apologize publicly if that is what you want. Just please, please uncancel the trip. I will even pay you back some of the money." She would not pay me back. We both knew it. But the offer itself was revealing. She was desperate enough to make promises she had no intention of keeping. I finally responded to the group chat at 6 p.m., right when I was supposed to be arriving at Victoria's house to babysit. "I understand everyone is upset about the ski trip. I think we should discuss this in person. I will be at Mom and Dad's house tomorrow at noon for Christmas dinner." The response was immediate. "Victoria, you are not invited to Christmas dinner." "Mom, Clara, Victoria is very hurt right now. Maybe it is better if you skip tomorrow and we talk after the holidays." "Dad, your mother is right. Let everyone cool down." I stared at those messages, feeling something cold and final settle in my chest. Even now, even when I was the one who had spent $18,000 trying to do something nice, they were choosing Victoria. They were protecting her feelings at the expense of mine. I typed one more message. I paid for a week-long vacation for 12 people. I kept it secret because I wanted it to be a special surprise. Victoria found out somehow and spent weeks taking credit for it on social media before I could even announce it. When she demanded I babysit on Christmas Eve and threatened to ban me from dinner if I refused, I decided people who do not value me do not deserve my generosity. I canceled the trip, and I do not regret it. I hit send and watched the chat explode again. Victoria. "That is a lie. I never took credit for anything." But Hannah had already responded. "Victoria, I saw your Facebook posts. You definitely implied you knew about it." "Mom, this is not about who said what. This is about family forgiveness." I turned off my phone and went to Trevor's house, where he had promised to make me dinner and let me rant for as long as I needed. Christmas morning arrived with weak winter sunshine and a sense of calm I had not felt in years. I woke up in Trevor's guest room, where I had spent the night after hours of talking through everything. He made me coffee and pancakes, and we exchanged the gifts we had planned to open on Christmas Eve. He gave me a first edition of my favorite book and a weekend getaway to Sedona he had already booked. I gave him a vintage record player he had been wanting and tickets to see his favorite band in February. It was quiet and perfect, exactly what I had wanted my holiday to be. Around 11 a.m., I turned my phone back on. 347 notifications waited for me. The group chat had continued without me, deteriorating into arguments about who was right and who was wrong. Victoria had posted screenshots of our private text conversations, edited to make her look reasonable and me look unstable. Mom had sent 12 individual text messages begging me to reconsider, each one longer and more desperate than the last. But the most interesting development was a message from my cousin Hannah, sent at 2 a.m. I went through Victoria's Facebook. She definitely took credit for knowing about the trip. She made it seem like she was in on the planning. That is really messed up, Clara. I am sorry we did not believe you. And another from an unexpected source, my Aunt Kelly, Mom's sister, who was rarely involved in family drama. Your mother called me crying about this situation, and I told her the truth. You do not owe any of them a vacation. You do not owe Victoria free childcare. You do not owe anyone anything. I am proud of you for finally setting boundaries. I read that message 3 times, feeling something warm bloom in my chest. Someone in my family understood. Someone saw what I had been going through. At 11:30, I got dressed in the outfit I had planned to wear to Christmas dinner. A deep green dress, nice boots, light makeup. Trevor offered to come with me for moral support, but I told him this was something I needed to do alone. Are you sure? He asked, walking me to my car. They are going to ambush you. I know. I kissed him quickly. But I need to say what I have to say, and then I need to walk away. For good, probably. I will be here when you get back, he promised. I drove to my parents' house in Scottsdale, arriving at exactly noon. The driveway was packed with cars, Victoria's van, Julian's truck, Hannah's rental, my parents' sedans. Everyone was here. I walked up to the front door and let myself in without knocking. The house smelled like prime rib and pie, just like every Christmas I could remember. Voices came from the living room, sharp with argument. I walked in to find them all gathered around the coffee table, clearly in the middle of a heated discussion that stopped the moment they saw me. Victoria stood up first, her face flushed with anger. You have some nerve showing up here. Victoria, please. Mom stood too, her hands fluttering nervously. Clara, sweetheart, I am glad you came. We need to talk about this calmly. There is nothing calm about what she did. Victoria's voice rose. She canceled a vacation out of spite. She is punishing children because she is selfish. I stood very still in the doorway, looking at each of them. Victoria vibrating with rage, Julian behind her, looking uncomfortable. Mom wringing her hands. Dad in his chair, not meeting my eyes. Hannah on the couch, watching everything with careful neutrality. I did not come here to argue, I said quietly. I came here to say something I should have said years ago. Clara, if you could just... Mom started, but I held up my hand. Please let me finish. I took a breath. I have spent 10 years trying to buy your love. I have paid for emergencies that were not emergencies. I have loaned money I knew I would never see again. I have rearranged my life to accommodate your needs while you ignored mine. And I did it because I thought eventually you would see me as more than a bank account. That is not fair, Dad said, finally looking at me. We have never treated you like that. You banned me from Christmas for not babysitting. I looked at Victoria. You threatened to exclude me from family dinner because I had other plans. How is that not treating me like my value is based only on what I can do for you? Victoria crossed her arms. You are twisting everything. I asked you for one favor. You demanded. You threatened. You manipulated. I felt tears prickling my eyes but refused to let them fall. And when I planned something genuinely generous, something that cost me $18,000 and months of planning, you took credit for it before I could even announce it. You made my gift about you. I never took credit for anything, Victoria's voice cracked. Your Facebook posts say otherwise. I pulled out my phone and started reading, counting down to an amazing family adventure. So blessed to have people in my life who make incredible things happen. You will see soon. I looked up at her. You made it sound like you were part of the planning, like you deserved credit for the surprise. Victoria's face went pale, then red. I was excited. Is that a crime? I was happy something nice was happening for our family. You were taking credit. I kept my voice steady. And even if you were not, even if I am misinterpreting your posts, the fact remains that you threatened to ban me from Christmas for having boundaries. That is not okay. That is never okay. Mom stepped forward, her eyes pleading. Clara, honey, can we please just move past this? It is Christmas. Family forgives family. Does family? I looked at her directly. Because I do not remember you forgiving me when I skipped Thanksgiving. I do not remember you defending me when Victoria threatened to exclude me. I do not remember you ever choosing me over her comfort. That is not true, Mom said, but her voice wavered. When I was in the hospital with pneumonia, where were you? The question came out harder than I intended. When I moved into my condo, who helped me? When I got my promotion, did anyone celebrate with me? Or did you just ask me for money? Silence filled the room, heavy and uncomfortable. Dad cleared his throat. We have not been perfect, Clara. But neither have you. You made a commitment to that ski trip, and you backed out to punish us. I made no commitment. I felt the anger rising but kept it controlled. I planned a surprise. A gift. Gifts can be revoked when the recipients prove they do not deserve them. We do not deserve a family vacation? Victoria's voice dripped with sarcasm. Because I asked you to babysit? That is insane, Clara. That is genuinely insane. You did not ask. You demanded. You threatened. You manipulated. I looked at each of them in turn. And when I finally stood up for myself, you all chose to protect her feelings instead of respecting my boundaries. So yes, I canceled the trip. And I would do it again. Julian spoke for the first time, his voice quiet. What about the kids, Clara? They do not deserve to be punished because their mother made a mistake. The kids never knew about the trip, I said. Victoria made sure of that by keeping it a secret she could claim credit for. They are not being punished. They are simply not receiving a gift they never knew existed. Hannah stood up from the couch. I think Clara has a point. We have all relied on her too much over the years. Maybe this is a wake-up call. Stay out of this, Hannah, Victoria snapped. This does not concern you. It does if we are supposed to be a family. Hannah looked at me with something like respect. Clara has been generous for years, and we have taken advantage of that. Maybe it is time we acknowledged it. Mom looked between us, tears streaming down her face. I cannot believe this is happening on Christmas. I cannot believe my family is falling apart over money. This is not about money. I felt the tears coming now, and did not try to stop them. This is about respect. This is about being valued for who I am, not what I can provide. This is about 10 years of being taken for granted, while I bent over backward to make everyone else happy. So, what do you want? Dad asked, his voice tired. An apology. Fine. We are sorry. We are sorry we asked too much. We are sorry Victoria threatened you. Can we please just move on? I looked at him and saw a man who wanted peace more than he wanted justice, who wanted comfort more than truth, Who would rather I swallow my hurt than deal with the messy reality of how his family treated me? I do not want your apology, I said softly. I want things to change. I want Victoria to respect my time and stop treating me like hired help. I want Mom to stop enabling her and taking her side automatically. I want Dad to stop pretending everything is fine when it is not. I want all of you to see me as a whole person with my own life and my own needs. We do see you that way, Mom insisted. Then prove it. I looked at each of them. Prove it by respecting my decision to cancel the trip. Prove it by not guilting me or manipulating me or making me the villain for having boundaries. Prove it by understanding that my generosity is a gift, not an obligation. Victoria laughed bitterly. So, unless we grovel and beg forgiveness, you are just going to cut us off? That is emotional blackmail, Clara. No. I shook my head. I am not cutting anyone off. I am simply going to stop setting myself on fire to keep you warm. I am going to stop giving money I cannot afford emotionally. I am going to stop sacrificing my happiness for yours. And if that feels like abandonment to you, maybe you should examine why my boundaries feel like punishment. I turned toward the door, then stopped and looked back one more time. The ski trip would have been amazing. You would have loved it. The kids would have had the time of their lives. And I would have been proud to give that to you. But you taught me something important these past few days. You taught me that my value to this family is conditional on my compliance, and I deserve better than that. In the months that followed, Victoria lost her job after a financial audit revealed she had been using company resources for personal expenses, a habit of entitlement that finally caught up with her. Julian filed for separation 3 months later, exhausted by years of her manipulative behavior. My parents tried to reconcile with me several times, but their efforts always came with strings attached, requests for money or favors hidden in apologies. They never truly understood what they had lost, and I stopped trying to make them see it. I spent that Christmas evening with Trevor, and we have spent every holiday together since. Sometimes I think about that ski trip, about what could have been, and I do not regret canceling it for a single second. That $18,000 bought me something more valuable than a vacation. It bought me my self-respect back, and taught me that the best revenge is not making people pay for how they treated you. It is simply refusing to let them treat you that way ever again.